Welcome to part 3 of the exposure triangle. If you haven't seen the 2 previous parts on aperture and shutter speed, I'll leave a link below for you to learn in like 5 minutes. In this video, I'll be explaining ISO, what it is, how it works, and how to use it to your advantage. So, the number one question people usually ask first is, what does ISO stand for? Well, it actually stands for the International Organization for Standardization. So, if you want the whole backstory on that, you can go check it out. But in photography, ISO, not ISO, doesn't stand for anything. So, what actually is it? Well, simply put, it's a measurement of how sensitive your camera's sensor is to light. So, if aperture and shutter speed control the physical light, your ISO controls the digital light. That means if your shutter speed and aperture are as low as they can go, then you can just raise your ISO to create more light. And as with shutter speed and aperture, ISO is measured in stops. So each stop is double the light of the stop before it. So when you go from ISO 100 to 200, 200 to 400, 400 to 800, you're basically doubling the amount of light as the stop before it. This is awesome because when you raise your ISO, it means you can also raise your shutter speed and your aperture if you need to. Let's say you're taking photos of something moving really fast inside and there's not a lot of light. Your shutter speed has to be high enough to freeze the action, and your aperture is as low as it can go. If your photo is still too dark, all you have to do is just raise your ISO until it's all properly exposed. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but as with everything, there's a trade-off. As your ISO increases, so does something called noise in your photos. Noise shows up as grainy, multicolored pixels in your photos. You also start to lose detail, and vibrant colors start to look faded and muddy, aka your photos get worse in quality. But noise isn't usually too bad until you get to ISOs of 1600, 3200 or higher. As long as you stay at 1600 or below, most people won't be able to tell the difference at all. So don't get caught up on noise. If the difference between you taking a photo and not is some noise, just take the photo. Editing programs like Photoshop and Lightroom have such amazing noise removal and sharpening abilities that not even you or anyone that sees the photo would be able to tell that there was any noise in the first place. And surprisingly, that's it. ISO is pretty straightforward, and the best way to learn how it works is to just get out there and mess around with your camera. If you've watched this entire 3-part series, I appreciate you, and I owe you a cookie. But now, you have no excuse to get out of your comfortable bed, grab your camera, and go shoot photos in manual mode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.